Alright, boys and girls, today we're going to go over some basics for PvPers, and basically this video is just full of things that I thought were missed out of a lot of other beginner tip videos. It's pretty basic but pretty important stuff, so let's get straight into it. So we'll get some of the more simple ones out of the way first, and this is key binding dodge roll and CC break to an individual key. Now this fundamentally just comes down to it's a lot less time to push one button than it is to double tap to do dodge roll or double tap mouse buttons to CC break. So it's going to feel weird and it's not going to feel right for a little while, but once your muscle memory gets there, this is so much better and so important in PvP, because you know that half a second that it takes you to double tap a button versus single press a button could be the difference between life and death in a lot of scenarios in Cyrodiil. So keep this in mind, and you know, as I said, it's going to be hard to start with, but you'll get there and it will help you in the long run. Alright, tip number 2. Now, this is pretty fucking normal knowledge and a common tip to give new players, but I want to explain it a little bit more, alright? And that is getting your build right for you. And the main word being there is you. So I'm not saying you shouldn't watch build videos and you shouldn't be copying other people, because, you know, we've all been there. I used to do it when I first started playing the game, and it's fine to do that. But you need to be optimizing that build for you. What works for someone else isn't going to work for you, and vice versa. So, for an example, a lot of Aussies will watch what Americans are doing with their builds, and they struggle on those builds. And that's because, as an Aussie, we have to build differently, and we have different needs to what the Americans can get away with. So, you know, even if you are American, as a new player, you could struggle to play a more advanced build, and maybe a build that requires a higher skill level than what you're capable of at that current time. So keep that in mind, and generally the best thing to do is ask more questions, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in tip 3. So this is kind of an extension of tip 2, but it is understand your build, class, and skills. So after you get your build, wherever you get it, if you come up with it yourself or whatever, wherever you get it from, the next step is to understand the build. Understand where your kill potential is coming from, understand where your defense and your healing is coming from, and just understand the strengths and weaknesses of your class and your build. So it's no point copying a build if you don't understand how it works. If you don't understand how it works, it's going to be very hard for you to play it effectively. So the best way to achieve this is just ask questions. If it's a content creator, get in their streams and ask them questions if you don't understand. If you're struggling to kill people on their build, ask them what their burst rotation is or how they're killing people. If you're struggling to stay alive, ask them, you know, how they're staying alive. And, you know, work out, 1, is it you're doing it wrong, or 2, you just can't do it and you need to adjust your build. Because that's going to happen. A lot of builds don't work for people, and that's just the way it is, unfortunately. So I guess as a bonus tip is, don't be afraid to play around with your builds. Now, I recommend giving a build a good amount of time before you say it's shit and throw it in the bin, because sometimes with me, like, this happens a lot. It takes me a few days to adjust to a new build, especially if I'm playing a new class with a new build. There's a few days there where I need to get used to it, and it's not the build. When you have a lot of experience in this game, you can kind of feel when it's you letting the build down and the build letting you down. You can tell the difference there. But as a new player, you're not going to quite have that experience to lean on. So, you know, give it some time. If it's still not working after a week or so, then, you know, you might have to do some pretty major adjustments to your build. Alright, so tip number 4. This is pretty important, and there's only so much we can do here, but a little bit what we can do is worth it in my opinion, and that is ping and performance. So if you're having FPS issues, lower your graphics settings. I have a video, I will link it in the description. It basically goes over FPS and ping related issues and how you can improve those things. So go give that a watch. If you just need ping related stuff, you've got a badass computer and you're not having frame rate issues, just skip the first half of the video. And you know, I'm not saying it's going to fix everything for you, but that video has helped a lot of people have a better time in Cyrodiil. It's obviously not going to fix the bigger issues that ZeniMax has, but it should improve your day-to-day experience in the game. Alright, tip 5, final tip. Alright, and this is pretty damn important, and I think a lot of new players are scared to do this, but if you want to grow as a player, you need to challenge yourself. You need to step out of your comfort zone, because that's when you really learn how to play the game and improve as a player. If you're running around in a Zerg doing the same thing every day without challenging yourself, you're not going to grow. And this is the same with anything in life. If you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, you're not growing and learning new skills or new things. So, you know, I'm not saying you have to, you know, go and try and 1vx straight away, you know, but go out by yourself, maybe try and get yourself in some 1v1s, 1v2s, or go to Stormhaven and actually 1v1 some people. You know, just slowly step out of your comfort zone so you can improve as a player. And you know, if you do step out of your comfort zone and you're just constantly getting wrecked, don't hesitate to ask questions. Get in my stream, get in whose ever stream it may be, and ask them questions. Say you're doing this, you're doing that. Where are you going wrong? Because, you know, as a new player, you might just not know where you're going wrong. And, you know, there's a lot of knowledgeable people in this game. And I'm not going to say just jump in my stream, but whoever you watch, just get in their stream and ask them questions. Most streamers will be happy to help you. I'm always happy to answer questions. If you get in my stream and I don't answer you, just say it again because I would have missed it. I'm always happy to help new players. And, you know, there's guys in this game that have been here for 6 years, 7 years, and they're no better than they were 5 years ago because they don't do a lot of these things. So anyway, boys and girls, feel free whenever you want to jump in my streams and ask questions. I really want you to know that. And I hope this will help some new guys. And also, I have a tips for pros video. So it's a bit more pro related tips for PvP. I'll link that in the description as well. There's a lot of content creators that contributed to that video. So it might help you out down the line, or it might be something you can keep in mind. Alright, boys and girls, I love yous lots, and I'll see yous in the next one.